I know someone who was really successful in a job and made lots of money and did really well and left, took a break to figure out what do they want to do next. And now have lost a lot of confidence and feeling very insecure about themselves and doubting themselves, not knowing because they were so attached to what they were doing before and identified that as themselves. Now don't seem to know how to get back on track. They feel like they're off track, and how to get back on track and how to feel confident again in their own ability.
Right.
What do they even do?
It's just such an interesting thing for us humans, because those stories we're telling inside of our heads, and I don't mean stories from a sense of, fairy tale stories, but the words that we're using in here, the words we're using out there, the group of things that we put together to form our perception of what's really happening becomes really, really convoluted and messy when we don't feel good. And when we think about it logically, if we continue to tell ourselves that we're not good enough, or I'm never going to find anything, I don't know what I want to do, nobody is listening to me. When we do that and we tell ourselves that in our head, then law of attraction kicks in real quick, and it starts feeding you even more crappy thoughts and bad memories, and will fill in gaps that now maybe not even have anything to do with work experience or your job experience, but it'll start filling in negative gaps from something that happened 20 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, fights with spouses, with parents, with siblings, with coworkers. It will just keep reminding you of everything that can go wrong, so that you, the human, have a really, really hard time even remotely being optimistic. I mean, does it even make sense to think that if you're in a state of negative, perpetual energy and an emotional state of being frustrated or down on yourself or feeling guilty because you haven't progressed, or does it even make sense that when you're in an energy state like that, that you would be looking for a solution or be open to hearing ideas? It's not logical to expect that of yourself. And when we do, we end up following a little bit further down the proverbial rabbit hole now, because we're telling a story that we're not good enough. So then our insecurity kicks in. So when we take action from there, for example, well, I'm going to go try and do this now because I have to, because I got to do something, or I'm just never, when we go from a place of, oh my God, I don't want to do this, but I should, then those don't work out well generally. They're not as fun as they could be. They're not as enlightening. Maybe we don't get along with that other party. They're just not fun, because again, law of attraction is at work here. So if you're in a state of frustration, annoyance, anger, worry, doubt, fear, concern, if you're anywhere in there, then the action you take, the recipient of that will be a perfect match. So you might go try out for things you don't particularly enjoy. You might get pressure from family members. I mean, just things aren't going to work out. So what we recommend always are, number one, baby steps, right? We can't ask people who are in a miserable state of being to all of a sudden just jump right out of that and hit that optimism wheel and go to town. But we always encourage people to tell the story of what they want. So what is the outcome you want? So if you don't want to be stuck at home, then what do you want? You want to be out doing something. You want to be engaging in something. If you're in a position where you might not know what that is, you said your friend had at least some financial stability. So the nice thing there, and again, with the internet and with YouTube and Indeed and all of these online resources, you're in a position to try 10 things, and who cares? I mean, if you leave the house from a place of optimism, I'm just going to go try it and see what happens, and not really care about the outcome and be completely worried or not if it was going to be the end all to be all to your life experience, that you were just simply going to go have fun to experience it, then the likelihood of picking something that's going to be a match to that will line up. You'll guide yourself to a place on the internet or YouTube. And I recommended recently for somebody to pick 10 words, 10 words that they might like. Accounting, construction, gambling. I mean, it just doesn't matter. What is something you might like to do? Stick it in a search engine and see what comes out of that. And it might surprise you what would pique your interest. The things that stand in the way of us humans of discovering something we might actually enjoy is that we're not in a mental state or an energy state, which puts us not in a physical state to leave the house. But if we keep telling a story that doesn't feel good, we're never going to have the energy to leave the house. Why would you? Why would you want to leave if you're depressed and not feeling good and don't feel like eating and you're down on yourself? Why would you want to leave? And from a receiving end of that, why would anybody wanting to expand their business and work with, fun, loving people, why would they want to line up with that? They wouldn't. Right? So it's about us being able to put ourselves in a state one moment at a time. If we're really, really upset and really, really depressed and feeling physical pain from that, because that will be a side effect, your bones will ache, you'll have headaches, you won't want to get out of bed. And the reasons for that would be we don't eat well now and we're not drinking enough water, and we just end up creating this perpetual mess. So if we can just recognize as soon as possible that we're not feeling particularly well, then we can at least start a process of changing what we're focused in. That simple acknowledgement of wanting to be somewhere else than not feeling well is enough to start flipping that switch. It's enough to start the motions of telling the outcome you want. You want to be in something engaging. You do want to have fun. You're a contributor. Your past experience guarantees that you bring a newfound knowledge to the table. We don't get from 0 to our age without all of those steps in between, and every single one of them have value. The good, the bad, the ugly, they just have value. We learn from them, we grow from them. The older we get, we know more of what we want, what we're going to put up with, what we're not going to put up with. Just if we can acknowledge a little sooner that we have this power within us to feel better about looking forward, to be optimistic about opportunities. We have never lived in a time where there is more opportunity in front of us. I mean, everything is at our fingertips. It is. Does it mean we get it overnight? No. Does it mean we don't have to work for it? No. I had we brought something up the other day, and it was, how do you keep somebody special in your life? Do you do it by supporting them or placing blame? Do you do it by being truthful or being dishonest? Do you do it by taking part or exclusion? Do you do it by promoting well-being, or do you lie? I mean, this life experience is about the advancement and the improvement. We are always getting bigger and better than we were yesterday. And we have an opportunity to take part in that from either direction, the positive or the negative. It's just the positive is so much more fun. And it's soothing, and it's exhilarating, and it's problem solving. And your friend doesn't know how special he is. He is part of the solution. And when he starts looking for that, then his contribution becomes so powerful in the well-being. He has knowledge he doesn't even know he has yet, because he's not thinking about how to go find it. He's stuck in what he used to do. And We just can't go there. It doesn't matter what he used to do, other than the fact that what he used to do made him who he is today. And who he is today, if he can sort himself out to be that eager, forward-thinking, solution-focused, fun-loving, contributing human that he really is, then he'll be in the right place at the right time too, to find his next logical step. It's just those don't come easy when we can't leave the house. Thank you, everyone.